As I headed out the door with my ballot, I was reminded of the courage of my grandmother on the front lines of the suffrage movement. I've listened to my grandmother's stories since I was a toddler. Those first tales were amazing ones about animals that lived on the Colorado ranch where she grew up. Other times, she told me about how, as a little girl, she would get herself into some mischief or another. I loved those stories best. She never got tired of telling them, and I never got tired of listening. Every story infused me with a sense of possibility. Jessie Haver Butler grew up in Pueblo, Colorado, on a large cattle ranch. Her early years were riddled with unthinkable tragedies. Jessie was 10 years old, the day she looked up into the face of Susan B. Anthony, who was touring the West, speaking about women's rights from the back of a wooden wagon. That was the day she found hope and purpose in her life, which was passed on to me. She knew at that moment that she would grow up to speak out for the rights of women. I am in awe of my grandmother that, against all odds, she attended Smith College and earned a degree in public speaking. She went on to become the first woman lobbyist at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., proudly carrying the torch that she had been handed by Susan B. Anthony that fateful day in Pueblo. I would have loved to be with her when she palled around with such women as Eleanor Roosevelt, Alice Paul, and Lady Astor. Jessie was one of the major players in the Equal Rights Amendment and minimum wage law for women. In 1920, she was instrumental in giving you, me, and all women the right to vote. My grandfather took Jessie to London when he was assigned to the American Embassy, where she met George Bernard Shaw. Shaw was so impressed with Jessie that he invited her to lecture with him throughout London. My mother was born during those years in England, right about the time Jessie and Hugh were presented at the court of St. James, where Jessie procured the only compliment given by the Queen that day for her dress. A gown that, unbeknownst to everyone present, she had purchased used at a consignment store. I followed my grandmother around and watched her from the back of the podium when she was 93 years old. She made several speeches in Hollywood with Gloria Steinem, Marlo Thomas, and Jane Fonda. Susan B. Anthony didn't know that she had given a young girl hope and purpose, which she in turn gave to me, a legacy of courage and hope and possibility with each vote I make.